Q, είναι οτιδήποτε.
Now, each part of a playback, each page is actually separate. So we've got a set of pages for this bank separate to the set of pages for this bank. And again, it's flexibility. On most shows, there's a set of things you want in front of you all the way through the show. If it's a concert, it might be a highlight on the singer. It might be a big monster strobe look. It might be blinders. If you're doing a theatre show, it might be a front of house inhibit. If you're doing a corporate event, it might be a special on the lectern. It might be the BT stage. There's certain things which you always want to have in front of you throughout the show. Equally, there's other things which constantly change. Again, if you're doing a concert, it might be song by song. If you're doing a corporate event, it might be different sessions. If you're doing some sort of a festival, it might be styles of music. So we can split one section to have things that you always want to be there, and one section that you can jump around to find the things you need for that moment. And as Clem, I think, said, the console just keeps making pages. Every time you put something on a page, you get a new page. And it goes up to 1.2 million. So, well, I've never personally tried it, I've got bored, but, you know, the theory is that.
Απλά λέμε μπορούμε να τη χωρίσουμε την κονσόλα σε σημεία τα οποία κάποια τα οποία θα θέλουμε να τα έχουμε μόνιμα μπροστά μας για να το κάνουμε. Δηλαδή, αν είναι κάποιος τραγουδιστής, ότι θέλουμε αυτό το Q του ή τη φωτεινότητα ή κάτι που σχετίζεται με αυτό, να το έχουμε πάντα μπροστά μας. Να μην χρειάζεται να ψάχνουμε μέσα σε να το βρούμε ξανά. Ενώ μπορούμε στο άλλο σημείο να έχουμε πράγματα τα οποία τα χρειαζόμαστε στη μία ή ανάλογα με τραγούδι, ανάλογα πώς θέλουμε να τη χειριστούμε εμείς. Όπως θέλουμε τα βάζουμε εμείς επάνω στην επιφάνεια.
Okay. So, let's just go back to the beginning again and have a quick sort of recap. So, controlling lights. We select lights based on where they're hung or what they do. When we select lights, we can see what we can do to them. We can give them some intensity, we can give them some colour. We can put them into a preset. We can add some more lights, give them some intensity, give them some colour, tweak them downstage. We can fan things. So on the console, we've got encoders. 3 encoders. This is going to be a bit hard. Above each encoder are 2 buttons. The left-hand one is always 0, the right-hand one is always full, both together is always 50%.
Right. Επάνω στην κονσόλα υπάρχουν 3 ρόδες, βλέπετε στο master section που δουλεύουμε, και ακριβώς πάνω από κάθε ρόδα υπάρχουν 2 μπουτόν. Το αριστερό μπουτόν, ανάλογα με την παράμετρο που έχει φορτωμένη στην κάθε ρόδα, το αριστερό είναι 0, το δεξί είναι 100% και τα 2 πατημένα είναι 50%.
Okay. And we can change what information we have on the parameters. Above each encoder, we've got next and previous. So we can go through the selection, we can put the lights to full, we can point them somewhere. But all that's at our fingertips. We don't have to look down to the console from the stage to be able to do it. Easy access to things like that.
Ναι, είναι πολύ εύκολο για να κάνουμε κάποιες αλλαγές χωρίς να χρειαστεί να ψάχνουμε την κονσόλα να δούμε πού. Είναι ακριβώς πάνω από τις ρόδες μας, είναι τα μπουτόν αυτά, να κάνουμε αυτές τις αλλαγές.
Now, on all the consoles you'll see there's a red, a yellow, a green and a blue button. It's a bit like a PlayStation. They're modifiers. What they do is affect how things work. Now, for example, this encoder controls tilt. When we move it, the lights tilt. If we hold red and move the encoder, it's fine movement. If we hold yellow and move the encoder, it's fan. So we go to one place to do one job. That encoder controls tilt. But how it applies is affected by the modifiers. Again, it's a very simple way of your brain remembering that's how we tilt and this will affect it.
Η κάθε ρόδα σου λέμε, η δεξιά ρόδα για παράδειγμα είναι για το tilt. Και υπάρχουν σε όλες τις κονσόλες επάνω, αν δείτε, ένα κόκκινο, κίτρινο, πράσινο, μπλε κουμπάκι. Ξέρετε ότι πατώντας το κόκκινο και τη δεξιά τη ρόδα η οποία είναι για το tilt, the red one is fine tilt.
Fine.
Ναι, κανονικά αν δεν έχω πατημένο κάποιο κουμπάκι είναι το tilt πάνω κάτω. Αν κρατάμε το κόκκινο πατημένο και παίζουμε με τη ρόδα αυτή, είναι το fine tilt. Αν πατήσουμε το κίτρινο και πάλι την ίδια ρόδα χρησιμοποιούμε για το tilt, κάνει fan. Δηλαδή είναι διάφορες λειτουργίες. Πάντα ευθύνη όταν είναι για tilt, αλλά ανάλογα με ποιο κουμπί έχουμε πατημένο, ποιο χρωματιστό κουμπί, κάνει άλλη λειτουργία η ίδια η ρόδα.
Okay? Yep. So, for example, At the moment, we've got pan sitting on the encoder. If we hold yellow, we get, well, a big mess. If I try that one again, it might work slightly better. So, if we hold yellow down, we get bands and knots. Very simple, very easy, very useful. We can do the same thing, though, with anything. So, if we take colour, we hold down yellow, and we move through the colours, we get a rainbow. So, it doesn't matter whether it's intensity, whether it's zoom, whether it's RS, whether it's colour, whether it's movement, we can fan things. They're quick and easy ways of making looks again on stage. I mean, that, admittedly, is a bit of a mess, but okay.
Yeah, okay, I'll explain it. Okay. It depends on what button you got first.
So, everything can be fanned, everything can be controlled from using those modifiers. So the modifiers let us do the same action in different ways, depending on where we are. So, we've got lights, we select them based on where they are, we give the console some intensity, we give it some colour, and we give it a position. We can take some different lights, we can give them some colour, we can give them a position. We can take the floor lights, again we can give them some intensity, we can give them some position, we can put in a gobo. If we look at things like gobos, the console shows us what gobos we've got in the light. Over here, it lets us index them or rotate them. So we can push them up and we can make them rotate. If we move down, it'll rotate in the other direction. So this generic fixture thing, this way of presenting information, means that what you have to know is how the console makes a light do something, not how the light works. This is a good example, this rotation. We select a light, we make it rotate or index. Now, some lights have different values to make them index to rotate. Some lights, you've got one channel that half of it is index, half of it's rotate. How the light does it is not relevant to you. The console knows that. The console does that bit for you. So here's another good example. If we look at colour spin. We go to a colour wheel, we go to spin. If we push that up, it'll rotate clockwise, and down, it'll rotate counterclockwise. Now that's always how we make a colour wheel spin. Again, doesn't matter whether that's on the end of a colour wheel channel, whether that's a set of CMY macros, it's irrelevant to us. So this generic thing is all about you being able to look at the stage and decide how you want it to look. I know I keep saying this, but ultimately that's what it's all about. It really is. It's as simple as that. So the console's giving us, again, always information as to what we can do, not how we have to do it. Once we know how to do an action on the desk for one type of light, it works for all lights. So the whole interface, the whole way of controlling lights is about building pictures on stage and thinking about building pictures on stage. Sorry, I've rambled again.
Oh, you keep going. I think it was clear. I could see what you were doing.
So this generic fixture, this visual interface, are all part of that same picture. We can store looks. And when we store things, we can be very selective if we choose, or not very selective if we don't choose. We can store one little bit of what's on stage, or everything we're looking at. We can use the timeline to be, again, very detailed about what we're doing. We take those lights, we point them up there, we make them go blue. If we record that onto a playback, we can control how that look goes to the stage. Very simply, by looking at each part of the light. So, fade up, then move, then change colour. So my lights fade up, then move, then change colour. We can look at it by fixture. So again, we can quite simply say we want a little bit of offset as to how that runs. So we can tidy up looks. We can get involved in the detail. We can go right down to making something very, very precise, if that's what we want to do, without having to waste a lot of time doing it. You know, if it takes you 20 minutes to tidy a look up, you're never going to do it. If it takes you 20 seconds, you are. And that's quite a big difference. Think about what, again, you put onto a stage. It's often the detail that people most notice. The fact that your stage is beautifully lit, nobody ever sees. That's what they expect. The fact that things happen in a specific way or follow something very specifically is the thing that people catch. And that's what we do. We've got the ability to do it quickly and easily.